And then, Joni, if you click, you see where your name appears at the bottom of your box, at the bottom of your picture? I do love your hat.
Yes, yep.
If you right-click that, you're going to get options, and one of them is rename.
Yep.
So, number 2, rename yourself with what food did you make sure you stockpiled?
Oh.
Sarah, did you change me back to my official name as opposed to what I stockpiled?
You're Pam Barkley right now.
I had changed it before. It just said Pamela Barkley before I started moving traditions. So.
I'm changing it.
But that was
I'm
before
answering the question. Oh, chicken soup. Cool.
Nice.
That I actually made, which was even more shocking.
I'm coffee.
I did that too.
Yeah. Cannot run out of coffee. Like, there's many things I can do, but running out of coffee is not one of them.
Pam, I just want to say that won't allow me to take attendance. If we change
No, we're going to have everyone change it back. Don't worry.
Good,
And everyone's supposed to write in the group chat.
Got
But
it.
we'll change it. We're just doing it for fun.
I should tell you that I feel like I dated Moses, but I went to the moving
Dated Moses.
training in Philadelphia 100 years ago.
It wasn't 100 years ago, Joni, because I remember you there. So,
Thank God.
and I am not 100 years old, at least the last time I checked.
Well, I certainly am. So, no.
But you will have the best hat of the group, I guarantee.
Oh, here goes my little visey. Thank you. I decided that I'm certainly known at school for like being outrageous. You should have seen my poor outfit. It was like the fairy princess to the highest. And I felt like kids are feeling so unsettled that I had to do something like this morning.
Love it.
I love it.
Love it. Hello, everyone who's just joining us.
Hi,
If you look
Pammy.
on the screen, you have some instructions to do. You're going to put your names in the chat and congregations in the chat, and then you're going to change your name under your box to the food you have stockpiled. For instance, I am coffee.
And I'm dark chocolate.
Oh, you are dark chocolate. Look at you.
But I was stockpiling that even before this.
And as I said, I put chicken soup, but I cooked it, which is what is the rarer thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah,
Making your own chicken soup is serious business.
like, does it count if you stockpile it anyway, like coffee?
It does. It does.
Oh, I wonder if that's a school calling me.
It's really fun to watch all these things come in. I might start calling
Join
you by
the
the
meeting.
foods you stockpiled.
Dina, where are you? You're at Road Up Shalom in New York?
Yeah.
Oh my, did you know, oh my God, what's her name? Who was it? Rashi. Oh my God, I could see her. Tammy. Oh my God. Here we go.
Hello, chickpeas.
I'll think of it.
We eat a lot of hummus in my house.
I understand.
Abby, are you there? Yeah. All right, I just want to put myself on mute.
Hello, Carrie.
Kara, hi. I see your note in the chat. You want to, I don't know if you're coming in from your phone or from your computer. If you're from your computer, you just want to find your own box and you just click rename. And if you're having difficulty with it, just let me know what you'd like to rename yourself to, and I'm happy to do that.
How do I make full screen?
How do you make full screen? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
At the top right.
What device are you using?
Good question.
Oh, I got it.
So I know there's lots of people who are joining. As you join, everybody, There's instructions on, welcome, and there's instructions on the screen right now of what we'd like you to do to introduce yourselves, your real names, and where you're from in the group chat. And then you're going to rename yourself, which is the little picture of you, into what food did you make sure you stockpiled? So if you're looking through people's names and you see funny things like their name is coffee or candy or chickpeas or chicken soup, that's why that's their names, because it's the food you stockpiled. We're all going to rename ourselves the food we stockpiled.
Hi, I'm not sure where Chad is.
So at the top, there should be an icon that's like a little, like a, what do they call, like a bubble, a little talking bubble. And it should say chat under it. And you pull it down and your chat should open.
I'm on my phone.
Oh.
If you're on your phone.
I'm on my phone.
Give me a second.
Loose leaf tea. Hello, pasta. Welcome. Ooh, salt and vinegar potato chips. I am in.
Pasta was my first choice.
Blueberry Eggos.
Oh, here I found it actually.
This is so much fun seeing all the foods that we're all like madly in love with. Pretzels.
Hi, good morning.
So just a, sorry. If you are calling off of your phone,
yes,
there is at the very bottom there are 3 dots that say more.
Yeah.
You click that, and chat is one of the options.
Okay, I just did that actually.
All right, awesome.
On a Zoom call, but that's okay. I can.
So as everyone's coming on, I see many of you are changing your names at the bottom. Again, you're just right-clicking at the bottom of your picture.
אתה יודע שפה אם אני נכנסת לזום, התמונה שלי כפולה. אוי, אני חושבת שאני לא במיוט.
You are right-clicking, sorry, at the bottom of your little square around your picture and where your name is, and you are changing it to, you're clicking rename, and you're changing it to what food you stockpiled. And in addition, you're putting your real name and organization into the group chat. So we have that.
I don't even see my name.
If you hover on your picture, you'll see your name. If you hover on the picture of yourself, you'll see your name appear. We got beans in the house. We got wine in the house. We got a lot of fun things in the house. So the instructions are on the PowerPoint that you're looking at. Just this is the one slide we're going to use. The instructions are there to rename yourself with whatever food you stockpiled.
Do we stockpile any food? We don't stockpile food, do we?
Folks made sure they had certain things in the house. And then also to add to the group chat, what your real name is.
Oh, all right.
And if you're sitting with more than one person, to please make sure all of you write your names, or one of you can write all of your names in our chat, just so we can make sure we know who's attended.
Wait, we do stockpile cheese.
Thank you, everyone, for putting your names in the group chat. That really is very helpful. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing this so we can all see each other more. And now that you're all seeing the full screen, you can see all the fun things that we have stockpiled together. Guacamole and Ben & Jerry's ice cream and Easy Mac, it's a good idea, and pizza and all the fun things that are in our house. This was just to have a little fun, to acknowledge the moment that we are in as we sit in our houses. I'm going to please make sure if you haven't yet, and I'll keep reminding, and every one of my colleagues keep reminding people to put their names in the chat so we can take attendance. If you would like to change your name back to your real name, so people know who you actually are, you can do that. Again, you just go to wherever you wrote. I'm going to go to where it now says coffee, and I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to put in my real name. There I am. So I'm back to being Pam Barkley. So I'm going to get started. I'm sure more people are going to come on as we proceed, which is fine. I am joined by many of my colleagues, but two in particular who will be co-leading this with me. Jen Anolik, I don't know where she is on your boxes. She's in the upper row for me.
Hello.
And Julia Papiyan, who is, again, I don't know where she is, but she has her real name, so you can find Julia as well.
I'm here.
So thank you all. And I also just wanted to give a huge shout out to Sarah Fox, who's the person you got the emails from, for, I don't know, everything, making this happen and getting the information out to you, because so many of you clearly wanted something like this and we wanted to provide it, but we had to move fast, and Sarah made sure we did. So thank you, Sarah. So a couple of things about what this is and is not. This isn't going to be about every technological piece of Zoom. Yes, we helped you learn how to change your name on this, because that might be a fun thing to actually do with kids you might be working with online. They might get a kick out of doing that too. And so we just wanted to show you how to do that, but we're not going to show you every technological piece of Zoom. There are a lot of supports out there for that right now, including that Zoom tutorials are phenomenal. They are really on it. If you go into Zoom and go to their help thing, I see some nodding heads, terrific. You will find that there's a plethora of information on that. We're going to show a couple things, but not all of it. We're more interested in showing you how to think about the curricular pieces that we tend to offer, the kinds of modalities we tend to offer, and how you can translate them to an online platform. That said, we understand that some of you on here are not necessarily even partners with us for B'nai Mitzvah or for our teen groups, Rosh Hodesh, Shevet and Tzelem. That's fine. We're going to focus on the modalities we use primarily in those areas with our teen groups and with B'nai Mitzvah. But obviously, those are adaptable for hundreds of other sorts of curriculum, and we are happy to have you here and happy to help you all as well. If you have questions specifically about something we're doing, please do put them in the chat. We have a pretty ambitious agenda for today, so we will try to answer some questions as we go through, but please know this is not your last chance with us. Based on what you do, what you say, what you ask, and on the survey we're going to ask you to fill out at the end, you will get a survey from us. We will offer specific things again. We will offer a deep dive on something. If we've got a bunch of people who say they want something, we're going to go do that. If you are someone who is a partner with us and knows who your field team person is, they want to reach out and help you one-on-one as well, and so do I. So know that this is the beginning of us supporting you, not the end. This isn't your last chance with us. We intend to keep providing whatever it is we find people are asking us for. Okay, so, and then you'll get the survey at the end to ask us any other questions that we haven't managed to put into the chat, but we will be monitoring the chat, making sure that one of us will be writing this down, so we will answer it as much as possible. And if we don't get to it, like I said, we will get to you specifically at some point, which is why it is very important that you do put your name and location in the chat so we know you were here, right? We want to make sure we know who was here and can follow up with you however we need.
I'm just going to jump in real quick, Pam, if you don't mind. Pam had mentioned, which some of you might have joined a bit late, that if you want to change your name back to your real name next to your picture, that would make it really easy for me to be able to email you at the end. So just make sure that I didn't miss you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, so there are a lot of you on this call right now. I know that 62 people are on this call right now, which is phenomenal. I just want to say one thing before I turn it over. If you are here without a video, if that is on purpose for whatever reason, fine. But if that's not on purpose and you're just not sure how to make the video appear, even if you stay on mute, but to have your video on, somewhere at the bottom of your screen, there is an icon. If you hover, there'll be an icon of a video camera, and there probably has a red line through it. If you click on it, you will magically appear as a video, as a person. So there you go. Just want to encourage you all to be on screen as much as possible. There are 3 pages of people from where I'm looking, 3 pages of these Brady Bunch boxes. So as many of you as can come on with a personal face as possible, that would be terrific. All right, so Jen Anolik, I don't even know where you are on my page anymore, but take it away.
I'm here. I also wanted to add that if anybody is in a place where there's noise in the background, to please mute yourself. So you can find the mute icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen. It's a little microphone that's just to the left of the video icon. So hello, everyone. I think I've met some of you, and for those of you who I've not met before, I'm really excited to be on this call with you. The circumstance is not ideal, but it's great to all connect. So I'm the curriculum manager at Moving Traditions, and we've had to do a bunch of quick work to think about how our really special settings and in-person groups can translate to online. So I'll start out by saying, like, this is all an experiment, and we've come up with a lot of I think really great ideas, and we're gonna engage you all with helping us grow this set of tools. First of all, so some of you who lead teen groups, you might be already using a ritual at the beginning of your group. Some of you who lead B'nai Mitzvah, you might not. But rituals are something that keep us grounded at a time that there's a lot of uncertainty. And also at times of uncertainty, we might also feel like I need to throw out all the things that I usually do and you know, start all over. And I want to encourage you to keep the rituals that you have in your group, because the rituals are grounding for both you, and they'll be grounding for the teens as well. So for instance, if you already light a Rosh Hodesh candle, you can invite participants to bring a candle from their own home, or you can encourage them. There's really great flickering candle gifts that you can find online, which people can hold up on their phones. And we'll send a link to one of those afterward. But if you just, Pam has one. You can see it in Pam's Zoom.
Oh, cute.
And you might also think about another ritual that you want to introduce at the beginning of your group. So something might be, one thing that I did in my Rosh Hodesh group last weekend was to make it feel like we were in the same space together. I asked everybody to share something from the space around them. So for instance, I shared some of the photos that are on my wall, one of which is a painting that a friend painted for me. So that we all kind of got a sense of Also, singing is something that Rosh Hodesh groups do, and sometimes other teen groups or B'nai Mitzvah. Singing can be a little awkward on Zoom, and that's okay. I mean, I think this is all a transition period. There might be some awkwardness that you find, and I'd encourage you all to lean into the awkwardness and frame it as an opportunity to grow through discomfort. And we could experiment with singing, but I might not do that because I think it's gonna be a little bit cacophonous. But for a small group, power through the singing. I invite you. You might also share a meme, invite everybody to share a meme at the beginning of your group, or do a funny icebreaker question like the one that we did. In one of my teen groups, I invited everybody to share to change their name to their favorite feminist. So all of a sudden we had a bunch of RBGs and Beyoncés on Zoom, and it was really inspiring. Okay, so we're meeting in a space that's totally different from where we usually meet, and it's easy for teens to possibly check out when meeting online. It's easy for adults to check out when meeting online too. So I'd encourage everyone to talk with your groups about mitigating distractions at the beginning of your session. So for instance, instead of some groups put their cell phones in a cell phone tower, something that you could do is encourage people to put their phones away in a drawer, or enter full screen mode on Zoom to avoid opening any other windows. And as much as possible, encourage people to join the call on a computer rather than a phone, because a phone oftentimes pops up with maybe a notification that could be distracting. Also, 2 hours is a very long time to be in front of a screen. So I encourage everybody to feel it out. My recommendation is to meet for no longer than about an hour or an hour and 15, and pay attention, monitor the group's reactions. If you notice people shuffling around, or maybe give people a break, let them stretch or move away from the computer. And along with that, so popcorn responses, meaning like asking a bunch of people to respond all at once, is a little bit tough on Zoom, because we don't all see each other, and it's sometimes difficult to know who's talking or who's not, and there's sometimes a delay. So consider calling on people. You can also, there's a raise your hand function, which you can find under participants, which is at the bottom of your screen. And again, we'll send a bunch of Zoom tutorials. And Zoom has wonderful, really easy to use tutorials.
People are raising their hands.
Yeah,
right now.
That's great.
Excellent.
And one other thing that you could do is when you're doing a check-in at the beginning of a group, like Roses and Thorns, something that a lot of people do, sharing one thing that's been great over the past month and one thing that's a little bit more challenging. Each participant could call on the next participant who's going to speak. So that could prevent some awkward silences. But also, awkward silences are okay. It's probably going to feel particularly awkward on Zoom because it's new, and there's extra technology, figuring out technology things like where's my unmute button and stuff like that. So give yourself some time, embrace the silence. And all right, there's onto a little bit of some of the curriculum. So a lot of the curriculum is it includes videos, and on Zoom, what you'll need to do, and we'll send you tutorials again afterward, is there's a share your screen button at the bottom of the screen. To share a video, and Pam is going to demonstrate this.
I am.
You hit the share your screen, and then you go to advanced sharing, and then you're gonna hit something that says share computer sound, and this allows the computer sound to come through really well.
Which I'm hoping works. Let's see. Is it working?
Yep.
Whoop, I muted myself.
Woo! Amen. All day. Yes. Woo! Woo!
Hold my beer. Actually.
And also, when you're sharing technology, there's always going to be potentially a moment where you can't find the window that you open, or it closes, or you can't find share. And it's an opportunity to model imperfection to the group. We're all figuring this out on our own. If you stay calm, then you know, you share that calmness with everybody else, and yeah, you invite them in to.
So if I had just shared that video and the volume actually didn't work, despite the fact that I practiced it earlier, I would just have to laugh and be like, experiencing technical difficulties, and just be out with everyone about it. Like, all right, we tried, it didn't work. Let's try again.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And like I say to all group leaders, there's some times when the curriculum is not going to work for your group, like whether it's because it's not the right topic for that particular month, or whether right now there's going to be there's some things that are easier to do on a screen, and there are some things that are harder, and we're kind of figuring this all out together. So one thing that I have just started to think about is there's a way of sharing, of engaging in a Netflix party. So I'm gonna try and share my screen really quickly. So it's a browser plugin. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
And so you download Netflix Party, and you can invite a bunch of people to watch a video together. And they can chat on the side. So one way of adapting the curriculum for this new time is to maybe watch something like Dumplin' together, or Big Mouth, or All the Boys I've Loved Before, for example, and use it as a way of talking about healthy relationships, healthy friendships. You can take some of the questions that are from the curriculum. Yeah, so it's a way of sharing longer things, keeping people's attention for a longer period of time, and still having a meaningful discussion.
Jen, someone just asked if there's a max number. Do you know the answer to that?
Oh, I'm not totally sure. That's a great question.
We're going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Galia, you know? Tell us. Share.
If you have a paid version of Zoom, and it's paid on an individual, not organizational basis, then you have a max of 100 people in the room, which is as many as we need. So if anyone has $15 a month and wants to get a paid subscription of Zoom for themselves, then you will have all the space that you need in a Zoom meeting. And for Netflix, you have an unlimited number of people to watch something at the same time.
There you go. You can have a giant party. Thank you, Galia.
Assuming everyone downloads the browser together, or you're watching it on shared screen.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks. There's also art activities in the curriculum. There's active activities. These are things that I'm still in the process of brainstorming about. Some group leaders have asked participants to get art materials ahead of time, or have mailed art materials, and everybody creates something in their own space. And for physical activities, I invite people to experiment and let us know how they go. They're not all going to translate. I'm open to working one-on-one with people to brainstorm about specific activities and how we might transition them to online. And I've also started to think about how we might do maybe some fun online scavenger hunts for teens, like picking a theme and then having them go scour the web and find like quotes or images, or do some research on that theme. So again, it's a time to be creative, and I invite you all to be creative as well, and hope that we can collaborate together. And I'm going to hand it over to Julia, who is going to share a little bit more about how we can adapt barometer activities.
Terrific. Just one other PSA again, because I know people have there's doorbells happening, so people are still logging on or logging off and logging on. I don't know, but if you haven't yet, to please make sure you put your name and location in our chat. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you. So this is definitely a time to be creative. It's a challenging time that presents a lot of opportunity. And as you've probably noticed, one of the modalities that we use within our curriculum in both B'nai Mitzvah and our teen programs is the barometer activity. The activity where participants are asked to go left or to go right or somewhere in the middle, in between. And so we kind of hit a wall and say, well, how do I replicate something like that if I'm on Zoom? And it's actually a little bit easier than you would think. And it's easier to gauge that online as well with some of the ideas we're going to share today. So one thing that I'd first like to go over is the agree or the disagree activity, which is more black and white. It's not as much as a barometer where you're gauging kind of the in-between. With that, the recommendation that we have as we brainstorm is to pre-print, have your participants pre-print a agree and a disagree sign. If you send this to them in an email as a PDF and just say, hey, can you print these 2 pages, if you have those ready to go for them, that is a pretty seamless activity.
So I'm going to hold one up, right? I just hand wrote one. So if Julie asked me a question, I could say I agree or I disagree to whatever she said. I happen to agree with everything she says, but I could just hold that up and you'd have a pretty, if we were all holding up a sign, you'd know what was going on.
Awesome. I love when you agree with everything I say, Pam. Thank you. In terms of the barometer activity, there are really 2 choices that you can do. And these are very important to distinguish because actually as we were putting together this very training, we found ourselves kind of repeating a similar mistake. And it's really important to remember that as you are creating your answers for your barometer activity via what we are going to use now, which is the polling activity, there are 2 options, which is creating a gradient, such as anywhere from agree to disagree.
Should I launch?
And I'll be launching that.
Oh, you're going to launch?
Yep,
okay.
I can.
Go ahead. Launch. Launch away.
Y'all. All right. And so now what I'm going to launch in a second is called gradients. And that gives you a question. And I invite all of you to participate in this, please. The question is, facilitating online is something I'm comfortable with.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. We've got about 20, we're on our 27th second. So I see that about 45% of you so far have voted. Keep them coming.
So as they're coming in, Dina reminds, thank you, Dina, for reminding everyone that polling, which is what we're doing right now, is only accessible for a paid account. So just letting you all know, you have to have one of those subscriptions we were talking about, the $15 a month, which actually this month they've lowered to $7. But anyway, you'd have to have a paid account in order to be able to do it. All right, we're good?
Okay. We're still at about 47%, but I have a feeling that's because some people are either from a different device. So in the interest of time, I'm going to close up polling. And so I click the end polling on my end and I'm going to share results. So you should see a pop-up. And I see that a little bit torn in half, right? We've got 50% agree, which is awesome. And then we've got about 50% that are kind of neither here nor there or strongly agree for the 2%, which is great. So I'm going to stop sharing these results. Now this is called, before I stop that, this is called the gradient, where you can kind of gauge the feelings of participants. And that's what I was able to do with you today. There's also the single choice, and Pam is going to share that for us shortly.
Yep.
The single choice. Yep.
So I'm gonna do something that I really hope works. Here we go. Okay, so I've actually opened up a different Zoom account to show you how to put in a poll and to give you this idea. So I just went to zoom.com I have another account to work with, and at the very bottom of the whole thing, you see how this is here's my meeting, it's at the very bottom. It says you haven't created any polls yet. That's because I haven't. I was waiting for this moment. And I click add. And so I could ask anything right here. And I could go, if you, right, this is not a gradient question. If you could have a superpower, what would it be? Right? And then we're going to just give a multiple choice answer. And we could say, being invisible. You can all see me typing, yes?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Flying. Mind reading. Right? And then this would be the poll. I didn't spell reading right, but that's okay. It's hard to type in front of people. Conversing with animals, right? I could name up anything I wanted, and then I can launch this poll as well. I'm not going to launch it, but you can see I'm going to save it so that this poll is now saved at the bottom of this meeting. Look, right here, poll 1. I have 1 question listed, and I can see my poll at any time. And here are 4 different answers I have for the question, and I could launch it the same way and just get a fun multiple choice question in there, as opposed to sort of this feelings question about how you feel about something. That makes sense to everybody?
Yes.
Fabulous. Just at the bottom of your meeting. And you have to do your polls ahead of time.
Yeah.
Just letting you know,
It's
you put your polls in ahead of time.
Yep. As long as you do it before you start your meeting, that is the most important part. It doesn't have to be done a set amount of hours in advance. It's before you launch the meeting, before anybody's in the meeting room. So, you know, if you set it up even an hour beforehand, you'll be good. 30 minutes beforehand, as long as nobody's in there, you're good.
Yep.
Another platform I've been monitoring the chat, and you can also use Poll Everywhere, which is an external platform. If you are running against some problems with the paid account, the logistical and paid pieces or free pieces of Zoom, and you can easily have participants complete that, and then just share your screen to pop up the results or send a link so that everybody can pull it up individually. Polls are also good for adding levity or checking in about how everybody is feeling, and that's especially good either in the beginning or in the middle of a group online gathering. A more casual way of seeing how everyone's doing or of polling is a thumb check. Thumbs up for agree. Thumb sideways if you're feeling not so sure. And if you disagree, golly, you got it. All right.
Clarification question.
Say that again.
A clarification question.
Yep.
Is that are these polls, is there any way that the interaction is live? So I understand that and so I'm not sure that I understood what you described. The poll you do in advance, you send it in advance so they respond to the poll in advance?
No. The poll you have to create in advance, but you launch it live just the way Julia launched the poll live of the agree to disagree of are you comfortable facilitating. It's launched live.
It's launched live and the responses are live.
And you share the results live.
And is it possible to also have an interactive live document?
Yes, which we're going to get to in a minute.
Okay, thank you.
That's actually our next topic.
Who was that speaking? I couldn't follow. Who was just speaking?
I think that was Tara.
Okay, I couldn't tell. There's too many boxes.
So as you see, these are all opportunities to learn in a way that feels a little bit less frontal and more interactive. It does require a little bit of preparation time, and as Jen and Pam both kind of alluded to, technical difficulties and issues can be a thing. Some of these simple functions, especially when you're under pressure, even simple things like typing out in the moment when everybody is looking at you, can be really nerve-wracking, especially for the people that don't use Zoom like the three of us. We are constantly on Zoom. This is not necessarily something that's new to us, and we still get a little bit nervous. But, you know, as long as you go with the flow, the most important thing is that you're creative, you're thinking creatively, you're checking in with your participants, and you're finding a way to make this information less upfront and just like, and frontal and more interactive. So I'm going to hand over the next part of this to Pam.
Thank you. So again, the idea is that these are all different pieces. For those of you who are familiar with Moving Traditions curriculum, we do a lot of things with barometer kinds of activities. So that's one of the things we wanted to focus on. One of the other things that we do a lot of in our curriculum is we have a lot of things done anonymously, whether that's with a paper bag activity or a Post-it note activity or anything like that. And obviously we're all looking at each other in boxes with our names. How do we make something anonymous? So here is how we make something, and I mean, there's many ways, but this is the way I want to share with you. Again, when I share at the bottom of my screen, I can share a whiteboard. Zoom has tutorials on this too. And so here is a whiteboard. What I'm going to show you is, I've just asked you all a question. This question that is now at the top of the page, I'm going to ask you all to answer. Your answers will be anonymous. I will have no idea who's writing what. How do you write on a board, on a whiteboard? You all can answer this question. If you go to the top of your screen, there's something that says View Options. You do Options, then you do Annotate, and then you choose Text, the T for text, and then place your cursor anywhere on this whiteboard, and you can answer, and then hit enter when you're done writing, and you can answer this question. For those of you drawing things right now, what you have instead of the T for text is you're using the draw, the little squiggly line. Just change it to text and you will be fine. And I, as the host, can move all these around so that they're not on top of each other. I don't have to worry about the fact that people don't know where everyone else is typing, because I can move stuff around if I want.
I have a question about that, actually.
Sure.
Hi, this is Fallon from Temple Israel of Boston.
Yeah.
We have also taken all of our programs virtual, and one of our teachers was having a problem with the whiteboard function because she was trying to like put things on the board and the kids were drawing all over it.
Yeah.
So is there any way to like turn it on and off during one call?
You can close and open a whiteboard without question. I can close this down right now and you will not see it anymore. The issue is...
But like if I wanted to keep it open for my stuff, could I disable the kids from drawing all over it?
Can you disable a whiteboard?
Like I know you can like turn the chat function on and off.
Right, like so that they can't write on it.
Right.
I'm going to be honest, I don't know the answer to that question. Since I'm the one speaking, I'm not going to Google that question.
I'm going to look it up.
But if someone can Google that question, that would be great. There's
Sarah
an answer somewhere.
Sarah Fox will.
Thank you, Sarah. There may be an answer.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem. So this is just to get a smattering on what's going on for all of you, right? Clearly, there's a lot of things that people are worried about right now, right? Whether it's they're worried about themselves, they're worried about parents, they're worried about being stuck at home, they're worried about some of their students, they're worried about when this is all going to end, as we all are, and I'm worried about parents' sort of ongoing motivation. And so what we're seeing here is really not only I want to just thank you all for sharing with us what it is you are worried about, being able to pay your staff. Yeah. Again, for those of you whose squiggly lines are coming up, that just means that you are in the draw function as opposed to the texting function. Instead of the draw, choose the T for text and then put your cursor somewhere on the whiteboard and you will be able to type. a pregnant wife. Yeah. So I want to thank you for sharing with us all these things that are going on. We hear you. We get it. We are all equally worried about some of the things going on right now, and we're hoping that we can work together to do the things we can do, right? Whether that is keeping one another sort of buoyed to keep fighting the good fight here and moving forward, to be providing opportunities like this to just meet together and check in with one another, and to help those of you who are looking for how to keep our kids connected, the ones I'm moving around right now. We want to help you as much as possible, and we're hoping we can. And although I do not have magic powers to make this go away. So where someone wrote somewhere, when will this end? I don't know when it's going to end. I'm not sure. What I can tell you is that I am super hopeful that, you see what I'm doing? I'm the host and I get to erase it. I want to make all your worries go away. I really wish I could. I wish it was as easy as what I'm doing now with my little eraser, right? I'm erasing all your worries, which is kind of fun. I wish it was as easy in real life. I am hoping that all of your worries do get erased, that these are not things that keep going on and on and on for you. And I just want you to know we're holding them with you for real, even though I just erased them all because I wish I could. Again, this is just really one way to show you how you can have students share anonymously a question like that about what they're feeling, which they might not want to admit to others, or any of the questions that exist on our curriculum that require something anonymous, like our paper bag activities or Post-it notes or things of that nature. I see that there's a comment that I never found the whiteboard function. Hannah, I'm writing that down. We will follow up with you to help you get that out. I'm going to keep on moving on for the moment, for time's sake. So another way to, yep.
I just like to interrupt for 1 second
Sure.
and say that if you are interested in saving the whiteboard, as many educators would like to have that, some of you might have noticed as Pam was talking, she took her cell phone and put it right up and took a picture of it. Pam has been known to do this. You can also use, if you have on your computer, the snipping tool function. And I do believe, as was mentioned in the comments, that there is a way to save from Zoom as a document, yes, or as a PDF or a JPEG or something, that that whiteboard. So yes, those are some of the ways to capture that information and have it, if that's what you're interested in doing.
Thank you, Julia. That's very important. Yes, I just took a picture, but Zoom will let you also save it in addition. I just like having it always on my phone. It's easier for me to find again. Another way of doing a quick pulse thing that is anonymous, like the whiteboard is, I'm going to go outside of, wait, I have to do something first. Apologies. Here we go. Copy. You will all notice that in the chat, I am putting a link. It's an Answer Garden link. Go to the chat and click. Oop, I didn't do it to everyone. Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't on everyone. Let me try that one more time. There we go. I put in the chat to everyone an Answer Garden. Each of you click on that Answer Garden. I understand that means a pop-up window is going to come up in front of our screen right now. And if you go to that, you're going to see a question on there. And the question on there, I want you all to answer. The question is, what is one thing that is bringing you joy right now? Write it in and click go. Write it in and enter. I want to know what's bringing you joy. You just shared your worries. I want you to tell me what is bringing you joy right now. So I'm going to give everyone a couple of seconds to do that, and then I will share everyone's answers. It is all anonymous, I promise you. I will have no idea. There is a character limit, that is correct. You can set it to 20 characters or 40. That's the choices you have. That's all Answer Garden gives. I suspect they might change that as people are using them more, but I don't know. So again, go to the link in the chat and click on it to get your answer, to fulfill your answer. And I'm going to, hold on one second. And here are the answers that you all gave. which is wonderful. And I don't know why it chose to put my children in big in the middle, but I kind of love that. So these are the things that are bringing you joy. Again, this is a tool that anyone can use and that is done anonymously so that people can participate without having to worry that they're embarrassed or whatever it is. Wonderful things that are bringing you all joy besides my children. But interestingly, connection with kids and kids is coming up a lot on this list. The Jewish community and creating art and painting and chocolate and Netflix and my dogs and pressure cooked beans. Okay, go you. My new desk chair, virtual exercise, all the ways that are bringing us joy as well. And we're holding that like we're holding your worries. It is not an accident. We did 2 questions like this, one about the worries and one about the joys, because it is a good idea for you as well as you embark on this with students and with parents to reach for a little bit of both, right? We want to reach for a little bit of both. I'm going to stop sharing that. How do you get to this option? So if you go to answergarden.com, you can set up your own account. It is sillily easy. Answergarden.com, it only does one thing. This is all it does. There's not a lot of choices there. So just go to Answer Garden. You can create your own question. It takes 2 seconds to do, and then you can share. The only thing you have to remember, I'm just going to say this again, is you have to share the link in the chat and then share your screen with the answers, because people can't click on the screen on their Zoom, right? Because I'm just sharing my screen. You can't click on that. They can only do it through the chat, so they're on the live thing. So you just have to remember to do that. So all of this to say that what we're trying to do is give you ideas for different modalities, different ways to keep going between different things. So in one thing, you're going to have them write out the word agree. And for another thing, you're going to do a poll. And for another thing, an answer garden. And for another thing, a whiteboard. The more you can switch it up so that it's not just one way, because even one fun trick like a whiteboard, you know, it can become not fun really quick. So to keep switching it up and use different modalities for different pieces of our curriculum. And so we're trying to give you different kinds of options, just so you know, for small groups, which is another one that a lot of our curriculum has, is small group activities, breaking up into small groups. There are breakout rooms for Zoom. I could divide you all up into small rooms. I could choose who goes into them as the host, or I could let Zoom randomly assign you into small breakout rooms and give a time and give you all an assignment, and I could pop in and out of all of those rooms. I'm not going to show that to all of you right now, but please know one of the Zoom tutorial things we're going to send after is about breakout rooms. Breakout rooms might be your friends if you are trying to do one of our preteen sessions that says divide the room to 3 groups. Well, that's nice, Pam. We're all on one Zoom. You can break out into 3 groups, and you have the ability to choose who goes in each of those groups as well, or not, whichever way you want to do it. So I want you to know that that exists also. And again, that is another way of just mixing it up, right? If you're doing all of these different things, breakout rooms and polls and whiteboards, it creates a little bit more of interaction and less of the frontal piece of it.
Yeah, I also want to add that from my perspective, breakout rooms on Zoom are one of the ways that we can interact online that we can't interact the same way in person. So like if we're in the same room with everybody, it's impossible to send people to a very quiet, private space where nobody can hear what they're saying. And Zoom allows for a little bit more privacy and a little bit more connection in that way. And Zoom offers these breakout rooms, but other applications like Hangouts or FaceTime don't offer the same capability.
Yes, that is very true. And so it is an opportunity in some interesting way. I answered it on the chat, but in case someone else has this question that isn't looking at the chat, as the host, you can go into every breakout room. You can jump in and out of breakout rooms, which is really kind of cool. And you have that ability, but only the host has that ability, just so you're aware. That is sort of the end of sort of the modalities of what we wanted to present to you all. We have something we want to do in closing, but what to invite you to think about closings for your own online learning. But before that, what I want to know is there something in particular that you have in your head that you're wondering about how to adapt for an online environment? You came on this because we said adapting curriculum. We were talking primarily about what we use in our curriculum. Is there something particular that you're like, but how do you adapt that activity, Pam? Right, that you've read in one of our B'nai Mitzvah or preteen session, teen session activities? If there is, I want you really to put that in the chat. Again, not your last opportunity. There'll be a Survey Monkey where you can say that too, but just so we have a sense of other things you might be interested in. Is there a particular activity you're like, I don't know how to do this online? Please put that in the chat as well. And with that, Julia. Oh, you're on mute or something.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Wonderful. Good. Another technical difficulty, right? That is a very, very, very common problem. People that are muted tend to talk. I'm one of those people. As those questions begin to roll in, we'll keep an eye on that. But for now, I invite you to change your name to an emotion you are feeling, or to put that emotion into the chat. I'll give this a couple of minutes. And again, to rename yourself, you just go into the into your little Brady Bunch box, and you click the 3 dots in the right-hand corner and click rename.
Restless.
Restless, hopeful, more confident. I love it. Tense and stressed, overwhelmed. Like Pam, I wish I had a magic eraser and can make it all go away. Don't we all? I wish that was the option in the superpowers, Pam, don't you? Magic eraser. And not the kind you can buy from the grocery store that is the Mr. Clean Magic Eraser, but like a real legitimate one. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for putting out your vulnerabilities, and thank you for joining us today. I would like now to invite Rabbi Tamara Cohen, who's on this chat, to share something with us.
Poem for this Shabbat. And Moses said, Dayam, enough. What is needed now is just this: to stop, withdraw, bring, do, perform, gather, no more. Let the silver glare of a silent sanctuary, the gold blue of a planeless sky, the garnet sheen of an empty concert hall be our sacred offering. Meager gifts of absence from wise and less wise-hearted people. Please, God, let our ceasing be enough. Let our hospital beds be enough. Let our slow awakening to the interconnectedness of every living being be enough. Let a cloud of great stillness rest at the entrance to every home and prison. Let this plague pass over us. Enough of us. Enough.
Thank you so much. I invite everybody to close your eyes if you're comfortable in doing so, and to take a deep breath in and breathe it out. And notice the place where your chair connects with your legs and with your back, and where your feet connect with the floor. Notice any sounds or smells in the space around you. Now I invite you to open your eyes and take a look around at all the faces on your screen. As you see, we're all physically distant from each other, some further than others, but we are still very much connected. And if we were together, I'd ask us to put our arms around each other, but instead I invite you to give yourself a hug or a grasp with your hands so that we can all feel connected. Thank you.
Jen, you're muted.
Jen, you're
I'm going to break the fourth wall for a second and share that what you just experienced is an example of a ritual that you could use to end your group. So ending with sharing emotions that you're feeling, or ending with a poem, or ending with meditation, or a combination of the three. And we're all, as you've seen, we're all working together, collaborating together to transform the way that we connect right now. And it can be scary and anxiety provoking and overwhelming, but it's also exciting to see all of the ways that the virtual space can connect us in ways that we could already connect in the physical space, but also in ways that are different and that facilitate different types of connections that we might not have thought of before. And the virtual space is it's a new kind of spiritual space and community space. So we invite you to experiment, to play and have fun. That's really important. And share with us what you're piloting or modifying or playing with.
No.
And I'm, as I said before, totally up for working with each of you to brainstorm. And we're going to follow up the webinar, as we said, with some additional resources and opportunities to connect. And it's also, I'll mention that it's not just helpful for all of you potentially to connect with me. I benefit a ton from connecting with each of you because it helps me to think through. It helps all of us to think through how the curriculum is working and how we can adapt it and keep it moving it forward, because we move traditions forward here.
That's our thing, in fact.